Today, I'm going to show you my recipe for sage grouse, or Sagehen as we knew them where I grew up. I checked on YouTube and couldn't find anything specific to sage grouse. I found other grouse, rough grouse, and blue grouse and all that stuff, but the sage grouse is a very, very unique bird. It's the largest grouse in North America, and most people don't like to eat them because they're cooking them incorrectly. People treat them like poultry, and they're not poultry, they're dark meat. And that is really the trick. So let me show you how I cook them. So for this recipe, we will need to remove the breast meat from the breastbone. Take your knife and go straight down the breastbone, get as close as you can to the bone, getting as much meat as you can. There is another separate piece of meat that's really close to the bone. It's a lot smaller. It will probably separate, and that's fine. I usually take that off and cook it separately. It's a very tender piece of meat. Then just repeat for the other side, and you're left with two perfect pieces of breast meat. Then I will take it to the sink and give it a good rinse. Sometimes you have feathers stuck to it, especially, where the shotgun shell entered the breast. If you have a hole there, it'll sometimes lodge feathers in there. This is also a good opportunity to feel inside of the wound and see if you can feel any pellets that have gotten lodged in there, because you don't want to end up breaking a tooth on a pellet. Then we'll be making a simple baste, starting with olive oil. Then soy sauce. Then some lemon juice. None of these are exact measurements. I just kind of do it by feel. Then I'll do a splash of Worcestershire sauce. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I don't know if anyone knows how to pronounce that. Then a splash of hot sauce. I'm using Frank's Red Hot here. You can also use Tabasco. It works very well. I use Tabasco sometimes. Then some ground black pepper. Some red pepper flakes. Then I use a bunch of fresh cilantro. Stir that all together. I take the bird and submerge it in the baste, get it all covered on both sides. You can use hot coals or you can use wood. I prefer a gas grill. I'm not a purist. I like the way gas grills work. They're just super easy. You place the bird down with the skin side up. Then I'll take the two small pieces and put it on the grill off the burner. Because they're so small, they cook a lot faster. You put them on direct heat, they tend to overcook. So for the first few minutes, I leave them off of the hot part of the grill. After a couple minutes, I'll move them over to the hottest part of the grill. While they're cooking, I baste frequently. I typically give it about 5 minutes or so aside. I like my meat rare. If you want to cook it a little longer, that's cool. I would say no more than 10 minutes aside. This particular kind of bird is a lot like sirloin or any other kind of lean beef where it's not very forgiving. If you overcook it, you're going to ruin it. If it starts to turn gray, that means you've already overcooked it. I monitor it with a temperature gauge, a thermometer, and I like my stuff rare or medium rare, so I cook it all the way up to about 130 degrees before I remove it. The second time I flip these, I always turn it the opposite direction so you get the crosshatch grill marks. For looks only. This is about the time I would remove the smaller pieces. They are definitely done. This is by far my favorite game meat. It is a lot like steak, but it's a lot more interesting. I think it's more tender, it's more flavorful. If you think it's a little bit gamey, you can soak the raw bird meat overnight in like a saltwater bath. Just put some salt and water, leave it in the bowl, and soak it overnight before you freeze it. I like it the way it is. I don't think it's gamey at all. I think it tastes a lot like steak. After I remove it from the grill, I give it one last little baste. Then we're ready to cut it up. And that is that. Sage grouse a la Giorgio.